Hello and welcome back to my workshop. This is going to be video 6, possibly the final video. I think probably the second to last video, penultimate, I think. Today I'm going to be building the legs to go on my pallet table that I've been building in the previous videos. I'll put a link up here to the playlist that has them in. I've built the top, very pleased with the top. Could possibly do with one more layer of oil eventually, and there's some tidying up I need to do. I looked at our existing coffee table and measured the height, overall top height of that, and that was 15 inches. I'm going to go for 16 inches here. The pallet itself is 6 inches, so these legs need to be 10 inches. You'll notice I've selected 5 piles. I'm not going to put 5 legs on, but I just want one for spare in case I make a mess. And also I want to be able to experiment with whether I'm going to have square or whether I'm going to have some sort of edging on it, some sort of chamfer. So I'm going to make 5 legs, and then I'll pick the worst one out as my experimental one, play about with that, see how I get on, and then hopefully that will give me the idea for what I want to do with the others. They're much longer than 10 inches, but I'm going to glue them in their native form, which is around about 16 inches, and that gives me the choice of choosing a good end to chop. And width-wise, I think I'm going to make the legs, about 3 inches by 3 inches. So all these pieces of wood are around about 4 inches in that dimension. So I'm going to glue enough to make approximately 3.5 to 4 inches in this dimension. I've put them all through the planer to give me smooth sides to actually glue together, but I haven't put the edges through the planer because that's all going to be chopped anyway, so that surface won't actually be on the finished leg. The other dilemma that I haven't actually yet got straight in my mind is how I'm actually going to attach these to the tabletop. Right, so those 5 legs are glued up now and clamped. I've added an extra few clamps there just to really give it proper clamping pressure. So I'm going to give that 24 hours up here in the workshop, and then if it hasn't set by then, I'll have to transport it down into the house to let it fully cure in the house. Looking at the forecast, it's going to be below freezing for a few days now, so I certainly won't be able to do any more gluing, but hopefully I should be able to, at least if that sets, I should be able to do the cutting and the shaping of the legs and the experimentation, and then I can work out how on earth to attach them to the tabletop. So I'll pick up this video in a couple of days' time and hopefully show you some more progress. I think when I left things yesterday, I just cut the laminated legs. So luckily, the glue set before the temperature dropped. Temperature outside today is only just above freezing. We've got quite heavy ground frost this morning, and none of my glues would set in this temperature. I think it's about 3 degrees inside the workshop, 3 degrees centigrade. And luckily, I thought I was going to have to take the legs indoors to set, but the cold temperature stayed away for an extra 24 hours. So that's all fully set. And yesterday I put them through my bandsaw. I made them 8 centimetres, which is I think about 3 inches square. And I've now cut them to 11-inch lengths, which is my final resting height for the coffee table. I think what I've decided to do is I'm going to use one dowel in the middle, so I know there's no problems with accuracy there, and then I'm actually going to use pocket hole joinery to go in. I was initially going to go in just on that side and that side so that it's sort of hidden underneath the table, but I'm actually going to be wearing it loud and proud. I'm going to go in on all 4 sides, and then I'm going to use a dowel to go into the pocket hole glue it in, cut it flush, sand it, and you will be able to see that there are filled holes, but they should be, I think, quite attractive. So as I say, loud and proud, I'm not going to hide the fact that I've used pocket joinery, but I am going to fill it with a dowel to make it look more attractive. So I think that's the pocket hole joinery on all four sides and a dowel in the middle, and obviously copious amounts of glue. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. I mean, really, the dowel is not necessary, because if I'm doing pocket hole joins from all four sides, 2 screws in each side, that's going to be more than enough. I did just think about the fact that if I hadn't cut these, and if they were a bit longer, I could have mounted them further into the table, and then I would have had a surface that I could have drilled through, and I could have attached them to there. So that's probably what I would do next time. I hadn't thought of that. And I'm not sure if my pieces of wood would have been long enough. They probably would have been. Anyway, this is a learning exercise. So I'm going to mount them on the side, and I've put, as well as cutting them to a 10-inch length, I've also put a 45-degree chamfer on the side, on all four sides, and that fits quite nicely because there's a 45-degree chamfer on the side of the pallet, and so that 45-degree will match the leg. So I think that's quite attractive. You may remember I actually made 5 legs even though I only needed 4, and I said it was so that I could try the different chamfers and things like that, which I did, but I'm also very grateful that I did, because I made a stupid mistake. Somebody came into my workshop as I was in the middle of doing my pocket holes, and I lost concentration just for a second, and I clamped this leg the wrong way up. So I've got pocket holes, pocket holes, pocket holes, and when I went to do the 4th side, I clamped it upside down, and I put pocket holes that way. I could fill them, but yeah, it's just a stupid mistake, just a momentarily small moment of lapse of concentration because somebody appeared and talked to me, but luckily that was a spare leg anyway. So again, lesson learnt, concentrate all the time. I said earlier that we had ground frost this morning and that the temperature in the workshop was about 3 or 4 degrees, which it still is. The sun is out now, but the air temperature is still really cold. Some of the ice from this morning that hasn't had the sun directly on it is still ice, it's not melting. However, I've looked at the forecast for this afternoon, and the temperature is due to rise to about 5 or 6 degrees, and for the next few days it's going to be 5 or 6 degrees maximum. And this glue that I'm using, which is Evo Stick Interior, has in theory got an operating temperature of 5 degrees centigrade plus, but I've decided, as I've got the legs ready, and actually the glue isn't going to be necessarily the strongest part of the entire joint, I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to fix the legs now. The glue will set eventually, and I'll be able to maneuver the table around, turn it upside down, all that sort of thing, because I'm going to have 8 pocket hole screws in each leg, and I'm going to have the center dowel as well. So I think it'll be a strong joint, and eventually the glue will set. Okay, so that's the legs on, which was really the aim of this video, so I think that probably wraps up this video now. And I guess the next step is really just tidying up. I've got to do some varnishing, some more sanding. I still need to put the end pieces on the edges of the table just to hide all the inlays and stuff that I've been doing, but it's getting there and I'm very pleased with it. So if you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help my videos to get higher up in the YouTube algorithm, and If you've got some time to subscribe to the channel, even better, because that is also very important when YouTube decides what videos to display to people. So really appreciate everybody who's subscribed so far, and everybody who's liked the video, and everybody who's made constructive comments. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, stay safe.